Hey guys, this is Evan from EzOrigami, and today I'll be teaching you how to fold an origami star from 8 bird bases designed by Christiane Bettens. This is a simple modular model, and it looks great when it's completed. Before I get started, it's important to mention that this model was also independently discovered by Yara Yagi. Both artists have some really fascinating work, so be sure to check it out by clicking on the links in the description below. This model requires 8 square sheets of paper. Each unit is folded from 1 square, and I recommend using 3-inch squares to fold the units. Using 3-inch squares will result in a star that's 6 inches wide. You can use paper with color on one side and white on the other to create a star like this, or you can use paper with color on both sides to create a star like this. I'm going to be using paper with color on one side and white on the other just to make it a bit easier to follow along. And once you've prepared your paper, then we're going to start with our first square with the colored side up. And we're going to start by folding in half diagonally. So take this bottom right corner and fold it up to the top left corner. Align the corners and the edges, then make your crease, and then you can unfold. And now we're going to rotate the paper so that the crease we just made now runs from the top left corner down to the bottom right corner. And then we're going to fold in half diagonally in the opposite direction. So once again, take this bottom right corner and fold it up to the top left corner. Align the corners and the edges, then make your crease, and then you can unfold. And now we're going to rotate the paper so that the crease we just made is now held horizontally. And then we're going to align this bottom left edge with the center horizontal crease. So we're going to start by lifting up this bottom left edge, and we're going to pull it up, and you want to start at the left side of the model and work your way over to the right, aligning the edge with the crease. And once everything is aligned, then we're not going to crease all the way. We just want to make a small reference crease here where this crease intersects with this bottom edge, just like this. And once you have that, then you can unfold. And now we're going to focus on the bottom portion of the model here. And now we're going to fold up this bottom corner and align it with this point here where this small reference crease intersects with the vertical crease in the center of the model. So we're going to do that by simply lifting up this bottom corner, and once it's aligned with that crease intersection, then you can make your crease. Just like that, and then your model should look like this. And now we're going to turn the model over. And then we're going to rotate the paper so that the folded edge is now held on the bottom right corner of the model. And then we're going to fold in half horizontally. So we're going to take this bottom edge and fold it up to this top edge here. So we're just going to align the corners and the edges. And once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease. And once you have this, then you can unfold. And now we're going to rotate the paper so that the crease we just made is now held vertically. And then we're going to fold in half horizontally in the opposite direction. So once again, we're going to take this bottom edge and fold it up to the top edge. Just like this. Align the corners and the edges, and then you can make your crease. And then we're going to rotate the paper so that this white flap is now held on the bottom right corner of the model. And now we're going to collapse along existing creases. So we're going to do that by simply lifting up the model just like this. And what we want to do is grab the left and right sides, and we're simply going to push both sides of the model together like this. Then we're going to look at the model from the top, and you'll notice that there are 4 separate flaps. You want to take 2 of those flaps and push them over to the right, and you want to take the other 2 flaps and pull them over to the left, just to evenly distribute the layers. Then you can put the model back down, and you can flatten out along existing creases. And now we're going to turn the model over. And now we're going to fold over this bottom right edge and align it with this vertical crease in the center of the model. And we're going to do that by simply lifting up the top layer of paper on the right side of the model, and we're going to pull it over to the left and align it with that vertical crease. You want to start at the bottom and work your way up until the entire edge is aligned with that crease. And once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease. And your model should look like this. And now we're going to do the same thing on the left. So once again, we're going to take the top layer of paper on the left side of the model, and we're going to pull it over to the right and align it with that center vertical crease just like we did on the other side. And once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease. And once you've done that on both sides, your model should look like this. And now we're going to fold this top corner behind along the top edges of these 2 flaps here. Now I find it easiest to do this by simply flipping the model over. And what you want to do is simply pull up the bottom corner of the model. So just pull it up just like this until you reach those colored edges underneath. And once you've reached that point, then you can simply put the colored flap back down, and you want to make sure that the vertical crease on the colored flap aligns with the vertical crease on the top of the model. And once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease. And then you can turn the model back over. And now we're going to unfold these two flaps on the top of the model. And we're going to do that by pulling the flaps out to either side, just like this. And then you can simply flatten out the model. And now we're going to petal fold along existing creases. So we're going to start by lifting up the very top layer of paper. And we carefully want to lift it up just like this. And we're going to pull it back just about as far as it'll go. Now as you're doing this, you'll start to see that the left and right edges will fold towards the center of the model. So what we want to do is simply fold them in along existing creases. So we're going to start with this right edge here, and we're simply going to fold it in along existing creases until the entire edge aligns with that center vertical crease. Just like this. And now we're going to do the same thing on the left. So start at the bottom and work your way up, aligning the edge with that vertical crease. Work your way up until the entire edge is aligned. Then your model should look like this. And once you have this, then you can turn the model over, and this is one completed unit. Now you must fold 7 more. Once you've completed all 8 units, you're going to need 2 to start the assembly. Then, look at one, and you'll notice that it has a small flap like this on the left side, and it also has a small hidden pocket in between these 2 layers here on the right side. So now we're going to take our second unit, and what we want to do is insert the second unit's flap inside of the first unit's pocket. So I find it easiest to start by slightly opening up the pocket on the first unit. And you can do that by simply grabbing the model from the top and the right side, and you carefully want to pull those layers apart just to slightly open up that pocket. And once you have the model like that, then you want to grab the second unit. And I find it easiest to lift up the top layer of paper on the second unit just to slightly separate the 2 layers on the second unit's flap. And once you have this, then we're going to bring both of the units together. And what you want to do here is make sure the flap from the first unit goes in between the 2 layers of the second unit, just like this. And once you've reached this point here, then you want to continue sliding the units together as far as they'll go. So just push the units together like this, and you want to continue pushing them together until they come to a point at this corner here, and you also want to make sure that all of the layers are aligned in the center of the model as well. And once you have this, then we're going to turn the model over, and then you'll notice this flap here where both units come together. So what we want to do is simply fold up this flap as far as it'll go. So we're going to do that by simply pulling up the flap, and you also want to make sure that the layers don't separate. You'll see it reaches a point like this where it doesn't want to go any further, and that's where you can make your crease. So just crease all the way across through all layers, and then you should have something like this. And once you have this, then you can turn the model back over, and now you've connected 2 units. And now we're going to add the third unit the same way. We're going to start by slightly rotating the 2 units that we already connected, and again before you connect the second and third units, it may be easier for you to slightly separate the layers on the second unit's pocket. And again you want to take the third unit, and you want to lift up the top layer of paper just to slightly separate the 2 layers on the third unit's flap. And again you want to make sure that the flap on the second unit goes in between the 2 layers of the third unit. Then you want to continue pushing the units together as far as they'll go. Again you want to make sure that the second and third units come to a point at this corner here, and you also want to make sure that the layers align in the center of the model as well. And once you have something like this, then we're going to turn the model over. And again you'll notice this flap here where these 2 units come together. And again we simply want to fold up this flap as far as it'll go. So we're just going to pick up the flap like this, and again you want to make sure that the layers don't separate. And again you'll see it reaches a point where it doesn't want to go any further. And that's when you want to make your crease. Just like that. And once you have this, then you're going to turn the model over. And then we're going to add the 4th unit the same way. So once again start by slightly rotating the 3 units that we previously connected. And again we're going to insert the 4th unit's flap inside of the 3rd unit's pocket. Again it makes it easier to slightly separate the layers on the 3rd unit's pocket. Again you want to lift up the top layer on the 4th unit, and then we can bring the 3rd and 4th units together just like this. Again slide the units together as far as they'll go. And then we're going to turn the model back over. Again you'll see this flap where the 3rd and 4th units come together. And what we want to do is fold up this flap as far as it'll go. So we're just going to lift up this flap. Again make sure the layers don't separate. And then push up the flap until it reaches a point where it doesn't want to go any further. Then you can make your crease. And once your model looks like this, then we're going to turn the model back over. And now you've connected 4 units. And now we're going to connect the remaining units the same way. So continue to work your way around until you've reached the last unit. And now we're going to connect the first and last units together. And in order to do this, you want to make sure that the first unit is held on top. So simply pull the first unit out from underneath, just like this. And from here we want to insert the first unit's flap inside of the last unit's pocket, just like we've been doing. And we're going to do that the same way we did before. So once again, we're going to slightly separate the layers on the first unit, and we're going to slide the first unit's flap inside of the last unit's pocket. And once you have this, then we're going to turn the model over. And once again, we're going to fold over this flap as far as it'll go. Then we're going to turn the model over one last time, and once you have this, then your origami star from 8 bird bases is complete. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial on how to fold an origami star from 8 bird bases designed by Christiane Bettens. Feel free to upload photos of your completed model to the new YouTube gallery on my website to be featured here in my next video, or you can simply upload your photos to Instagram using the hashtag EzOrigami to be featured here as well. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and thank you for watching.